Okay, hello again. Now we're going to see if our bread, which is in the oven, rising, it's a sponge. Okay, remember what it looked like when it went in here? See, this is what it looks like now. That is because of the mixing up of the sponge. Now what you're going to do is you take your flour, and you add it about a cup at a time. This is my measuring cup. You see it's half a cup. And now you don't use a whisk anymore. Now you're going to move on and use a wooden spoon. And I had one a minute ago. Where did it go? I thought it was right here. Well, let's just keep looking, Nancy. Must be here somewhere. Okay, I'll wash one. Okay, so now what we do, you see how this is full of air? That's good. That has done the rise, that has decreased your amount of kneading time by a heck of a lot. So you spread your flour all over it, about a cup at a time, and then you're going to start kneading this in. It means you go around the edge and you kind of flop it over. Now if you want to add oil or eggs, actually I don't do that at this point. But we can. Let's add some oil. You add about a half a cup. And then, what was the other thing I said? Oil and eggs. Yeah, you can add some eggs too if you wish. Now if you want to beat them up separately before you add them, you can do that. Now I figure the most nutrition I can get into my kids with their bread, the better. So there we go. Now we're going to fold all that in too. Might want to break your eggs. Now you could have mashed them up separately and then put them in here. You could fluff up your whites. You can do whatever you want with your food. It's yours. Okay, now of course it's going to take a lot more flour. I'm turning it a quarter turn every time I do it. That was a lot of wheat German bran. That didn't have a, it's not going to make much gluten in that one. And you see how it's all kind of lumpy and chunky? You can almost separate the pieces out. They're not hooking together yet. See there, it's starting a little bit to hold together. I'm going to add some of this store-bought whole wheat bread, or whole wheat flour. Coat the surfaces first before I start folding it in, because it's going to make a layer in the middle as I fold it in here. Now, when you're adding your flour, it can get sticky. Like, it's okay if it's sticky. You don't want it to be really dry like you do if you're doing white bread. White bread, you can add a whole lot of flour. See, now this is where why you knead is because this, at this point, if you cook that, that would make like almost like muffins that fall apart. Bread, you don't want it to fall apart. One of you commented that your bread falls apart. And so that's how to keep it from falling apart, is to, you knead it, or you continue to mix it. Now we can add a little more flour here. And I'm putting it around the sides. And then I'm going to push it down around the sides. So it's coating the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to clean off my thing. And then I just like to tuck it in around it. Then you start by taking the opposite side and you pull it and you move it back. You're rolling it or trying to roll it. This needs a lot more flour, I think. Ooh, it's nice. But it's definitely like, it's in bits. It's not one big thing yet. Let me get some more flour on there. Now, one of you commented that you wouldn't use this much flour as in these great big bags I have in a year or 100 years. But when you make bread, it goes quickly. It's usually 15 cups of flour or something. You don't have to measure it, because when it won't hold anymore, well, within reason, and then you're done. You rub your hands off, and that goes into the flour because your hands were clean. So now you're taking it from behind, you're pulling it and pushing it, rolling it. And see how it opens up and you have a wet spot? And this is why you're doing it in flour. This makes a lot less mess than doing it on your counter. I've done it on my counter for, well, I've been making bread for 30 years. So I'm certainly not scared of the bread. I've gotten all kind of rude comments on my bread video. One person thought how horrible to use water from your hot water heater. Oh my gosh. Well, I think, man, some people have OCD. That's just all it is. And the media feeds it. I don't think that if you lived in the woods you would worry about things like that. You'd just be glad to have some kind of way to cook your bread. See, it's still sticky here. Now I have a curved spatula that my aunt years ago gave me, and of course now I can't find that either.